And that was the final straw. And I mean insane chemistry. All those tropes, you guys, all those tropes. That's just me being honest. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Johanna and welcome to my cozy book space. So for today's video, we're going to be reading all of the books that were chosen for my July TBR from my TBR jar. Those books being Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Cole, To Love Jason Thorne by Ella Mays, Bitter Heat by Amaya Knight, The Two of Us by Taylor Torres, and A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stasia Stark. So if you guys want to see my reviews and thoughts on all of these books, then go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so I'm here with my first reading update. I started Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Cole. This is actually a dark and quirky book box edition. So this is a hardcover edition. You guys know how I feel about these. But anyways, I am 31% of the way through this book and I am listening to the audiobook. We have the hero narrated by Joe Arden, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's so good. It's so good. The narration is so good. The story, it's giving mid, but let's get into it. So the whole premise of this story is that we have our main heroine, Skylar. She is struggling with life. She has a horrible home life. Her mother is a hoarder and just does not care about her, does not care about herself. Her house is just a pigsty. And she actually has like 3 deadbolt locks on her room in that house. And she has to climb in through the window to get to her bedroom. Just her living conditions are horrendous. Okay, the things that she has to do to take care of herself is crazy, but she has her deceased grandfather who gifted her this Corvette and it actually ends up breaking down on her. And then we have our hero, Jude. He is the owner of a construction company, I believe, and he's working on a site that's right across of her high school. He sees her break down and ends up helping her out. And this is how both of our characters meet. Our heroine is 18 and our hero, I believe, is 34. So this is an age gap forbidden romance. Our heroine also struggles with health issues and mental health issues. She has very specific things that she is diagnosed with and they are told to you and explained to you in the book. I'm not going to go too in depth on that, but just know that she's struggling just kind of overall. And then she ends up passing out on a sidewalk walking home from her part-time job and Jude ends up seeing her and taking her to the ER. And this is kind of where he starts to find out that her home life is horrible and that she is essentially sick and making herself sick because she can't afford insurance and the medications that she needs. So our hero ends up suggesting that they get married so that the heroine can get on his health insurance plan. They end up going through with it. So we have and overall, like, I'm enjoying listening to this story. I'm liking the story. I'm at the point where she's moved into his house. They're already married and there's just now more forced proximity. Their banter is cute sometimes, but cringy others. And I will say that we keep getting reminded of their age gap and the fact that the heroine is only 18 multiple times in this book. Her clothing choices and the way she acts sometimes is giving childish, and so that is throwing me off because that's not my favorite. I would have liked a more mature heroine, and I feel like because of her circumstances and her health issues that's supposed to make her seem more mature, but it's just not giving that. I am thinking about DNFing this, but I'm going to give it to the 50% mark. I don't know why, probably because I like the audiobook so much that I don't mind listening to it at work, and I also kind of want to get to the spicy scene, but if the spicy scenes give me the ick, then I'll definitely DNF it. That's just me being honest. Like, I want to hear Joe Arden narrate one of the spicy scenes, and I know there's a spicy scene, and one of my favorite tropes, micro tropes if you will, is a bathtub scene, and this dark and quirky special edition came with this artwork, so I know that there's a spicy scene in there somewhere and a bathtub scene is somewhere in there. So I kind of just want to wait and keep reading. I guess this update is to tell you the synopsis and the way that I'm feeling about it update, which is mid. That is my update for now. I tried filming this clip last night and I filmed it twice with no audio, so I had to give up. And so now I'm here today with my reading updates, and there's gonna be more than what I had yesterday because I did finish another book, but let's get right into it. It's gonna be a lengthy catch up. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's talk about the 3 books that I've finished. I will explain on why it's in quotation marks, but first reading update is on Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Cole. This I unfortunately DNF'd at 54% of the way in. I really tried to love it, you guys. I just didn't. I think I gave you guys the basic premise about this book, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but I was kind of waiting to get like the first sex scene to see how that was going to play out, because I was already iffy about the relationship, because this is an age gap forbidden romance. I do like those tropes, but they have to be done in a specific way for me to enjoy them and not get icked out by them, and this one icked me out. I felt like the author tried to make our heroine feel more mature because of the things that our heroine went through and is going through. It didn't really click and pan out the way the author intended, because the heroine reads very childlike with the way that she acts, the way that she dresses, and just some of her thoughts are very childish, and I just don't like that, because I want our heroines, especially if they're on the younger side, to have some maturity to them, and I don't think that came across in the story. Another thing that I hate is when the age gap gets repetitive. Like, I don't need you to tell me more than once, maybe twice, that there's an age gap, because we get it the first time that we know and are told the ages. So there was a lot of repetition, like, oh, she's too young for me, she's too young for me, I'm too old for her, I'm too old for her, and all of these things. And I was just like, you know that it's wrong, but you're still falling for her, and it's giving icky, and it's giving like not for me. And then once we got to that first sex scene, I was just like, okay, I have to DNF, because it was cringy and I didn't like it. I didn't care about the characters and I didn't care about the story enough to continue the book. So I will be unhauling this book, and I'm honestly not really mad about it, because I don't really want contemporary special editions on my shelf, especially hardcover ones. And this one's really pretty, but I just don't like the story. And so I'm going to be putting this on my Pango. And if you guys didn't know, I do have my Pango link down below in the description box always. Yes, so this will be unhauled. This just wasn't for me. Okay, sorry for the angle change. I just had to check that my microphone was working, so I didn't have to film this a 4th time. Moving on to the next book I ended up picking up, because once I DNF'd Don't Kiss the Bride, I was like, well, I need another audiobook to listen to, so why not pick up another book for this reading vlog? Said book was To Love Jason Thorne by Ella Mays. I unfortunately DNF'd this at 64% of the way in, and I really did try to love it, you guys, but there was just so many issues with this book, so let's get into it. We have our hero and our heroine. They actually are childhood friends to strangers to lovers. I'm assuming it is a romance, so it has to end in an HEA. So I'm assuming they actually officially get together at the end of the book. We open up this story with our heroine meeting her brother's best friend, which is our hero. So there is that trope in there, and she's actually very young when she first sees him, and we don't find out that she was actually like 5 or 6 years old when she first meets her brother's best friend, the hero, until like we get years past, and I'm like, oh, that's why that first scene was kind of weird, because our heroine was literally a child. So if that doesn't tell you about the lack of detail in the writing, I don't know what will. So moving on, our hero ends up growing up to be like 16, and I think 16 to 17 to 18, I don't know, one of those 3. And our heroine, I think, is 15, 16. And this is when our heroine decides to message our hero with a fake number to see if he likes her, but she's pretending to be somebody else. And because she does this, the hero says some hurtful things about the heroine to the heroine without knowing. And then after this, the hero actually tragically basically loses her mother due to an overdose, and his mother was also an alcoholic. Because of this, he actually has to move to California to live with his dad, and they don't really have that great of a relationship, so he obviously ends up moving away and they don't see each other for many years. We open up the story with our current hero banging his co-star in an alleyway. Not only is it descriptive, but it's also cringy as hell, because why do I want to read about a hero banging another woman that's not the heroine? Besides the point. So he's a womanizer, he's a famous actor. Our hero and our heroine actually end up meeting because the heroine goes into a meeting because she actually wrote a book, a brother's best friend book. We all know it's about our hero. This company wants to pick up her book and make it into a movie, and they want to star our hero because he's an up-and-coming famous actor. This is where they first meet again, and this is where our hero kind of just starts noticing our heroine. It goes from there. It also kind of throws in the marriage of convenience trope because our hero wants to level up his image because it's not looking so good. Who better than with our heroine? I just didn't like this. One, our hero was portrayed in a not very flattering light. Our heroine was just giving pick me, choose me, love me, and she was just giving desperate, and I just didn't understand why she was so in love with this man that they didn't even have any real connection to prior. I didn't understand why the hero all of a sudden was attracted to her besides her body and that she was grown. Also, there are scenes in here that are just cringy where the heroine gets drunk twice, like blackout, not blackout, but like obviously overly drunk that the hero has to take care of her. It just didn't make sense for me. I mean, I get the first time, but the second time I was like, bruh, his mother was an alcoholic. What makes you think that the hero would want to be with a heroine that's like that? And then second, the last straw that made me DNF this was their first like physical moment. She was drunk. She needed it. And she basically forced our hero to like make her orgasm because she needed it. And in the hero's head, he's like, I don't want to do this because she's not sober. I don't want to do this. And she's like forcing him to do it. And so he ends up doing it. And that just rubbed me the wrong way. I was just like, how is this sexy? Like, how is this okay? And that was the final straw. Unfortunately, I will be unhauling this book because it just wasn't for me. Let's talk about the book that I actually finished today, but I was currently reading yesterday. I listened to The Two of Us by Taylor Torres. This is actually a special edition cover for this book, and isn't it just gorgeous? Like, look at the artwork and the hero and the heroine. Like, they're just so beautiful, and just looking at this cover after reading the book, it just means so much. And it is a signed copy, so I purchased this before reading the book, obviously, so I'm glad that I loved this book because now I get to keep this copy. So it's looking up, okay? This reading vlog is looking up. We read this book, The Two of Us, and I gave it 5 stars. I have to give it 5 stars because I didn't necessarily feel that 5 star. I think it's really hard for me to feel a 5 star when I'm listening to the audiobook, but this book drew so many emotions out of me that it can't be less than a 5 star. Like, I literally had to take deep breaths while I was at work so I wouldn't sob my eyes out. It's just so sad, but it's so just tragically beautiful, and there's just so much hope in this book. But let me get into what this book is about before I just keep on jabbering about it. We have our main heroine. What's her name? I always forget the names of these people. I think our heroine's name is Mara. That sounds correct. And then we have our hero named Ambrose. Yes. So we have our heroine, Mara, and we have our hero, Ambrose. So we go past to present. In the past chapters, we have our characters, childhood friends to lovers. Think Love in Other Words. It's giving like that vibe when I'm talking about past and present chapters. I just love having those past chapters because we get to see them as kids and how they interact when they were younger and build that crush and learn each other and be friends first before anything else. So I loved the past chapters, and we get to see so so much in those past chapters. And in the present, we have Mara. She is definitely going through it. She definitely has a lot of trauma because of what happens in her childhood, and we do find out what happens, and it is tragic. So it explains so much of why Mara is the way that she is, especially with her parents, and then with the relationship that she has with Ambrose's younger sister Kat, who ends up being Mara's best friend. We don't get the hero's point of view, which, you know, I always hate when we don't get the hero's point of view because I want to be in his point of view as well. It's all through Mara's point of view, and there's just so many side characters, and it's a small town. Our heroine has to go back to her small town. She was currently living in New York City because she had to move away, but she goes back to take care of her sick father. It's just all the coziness and found family in this small town, and it's just when she runs back into Ambrose after 7 years. It's always been you. I've been waiting for you. All those tropes, you guys, all those tropes. It was so good. And just the way that this man loves this woman. Like, he loves this woman, and he will wait forever. He will wait a lifetime for her. She is just trying to not break and fall apart. The things that happen in this book that make Mara the woman that she is tragic. Like, when I read those chapters, I literally, like I said, I had to take deep breaths at work so I wouldn't start sobbing, because there's like moments after we find out where the heroine kind of has to do some inner healing, and there's these certain scenes like with the tree. I had to take a moment. Like, I had to like literally take deep breaths because I was like, I'm gonna cry. And then the scenes with her father, oh, I had to take double time deep breaths because I could feel my eyes watering. It just hit me in the chest because I was putting my own father in these scenes, and like having her lose her father, it literally stabbed me in the heart. And I like, just with the writing as well, like, it makes you feel the emotions. I felt like I was going through it with our heroine. So there was just 2 moments in this book that I was literally so close to sobbing, but like, I can't be doing that at work, you know? And yeah, and it's just the story of them trying to find their way back to each other. There is spice in this book, but it's very minimal spice. You know what's happening, but it's very much very low description, which I didn't mind because the overall story, the overall plot, the overall journey was just so well worth it. And there's just side characters in here, especially with a little kid that Ambrose is actually doing like the Big Brother program with, and just seeing Ambrose and seeing the man that he became and what he's done for the small town, and just him being helpful with her father and being in the same place that she ended up leaving, and their push and pull with their relationship to see if it could even go anywhere. And I can't give it less than 5 stars. I loved this so much. Honestly, I literally cannot wait to reread this so I could like highlight certain quotes and stuff. And let me just talk about the relationship between Mara and Kat. Like, that is what a best friend relationship should be. Like, that is the goal. I loved their dynamic. Kat was just so funny, so bright, so charming. Mara was just this lonely kid with divorced parents. She fell into this family with Ambrose and Kat, and it just became her whole world. You know, there's a lot of talk about loss in here, and grief and healing. So I can't recommend this book enough. I loved it so much. I do recommend the audiobook, but I think next time I reread this, I want to do it physically. So with that being said, I will be keeping this book, and I'm so happy about it. And I will also mention that the heroine is Latina, so there is Latinx representation with the author and with our female main character. So I just love that, and I can't wait to read more by this author. Don't mind my appearance. I literally just hopped out of the shower, lathered my body in body lotion and body oil, put my pajamas on and this cozy hoodie, and I am just in the zone right now, okay? But I'm here with 2 reading updates, and we're going to finish a book together, and then we'll close out this reading vlog because we did actually read all the books in this vlog. But we didn't read all of them because there were a couple DNFs, but you know what I mean. I actually did end up finishing Bitter Heat by Maya Knight. and I'm giving it 4 stars, and I will be keeping this book. I was kind of surprised with how much I loved this, because whenever I did buy this book, I bought this book like a minute ago, like at the beginning of my reading journey. It feels like I was just so intrigued by it, and then I never read it because I heard that book 2, and then I think there's a book 3. Those took like years to come out, and I think they did last year or this year, like the whole trilogy finished, and then this was picked for my TBR jar, so I was like, I have to read it. But this story has to do with Jasmine and Roth. Jasmine and Roth used to be married. They met while Jasmine was in college, and Jasmine comes from the Hennessy line. She is a high up lady, if you will. Her father is very rich, owns a lot of company, and he's kind of on the ruthless side. She's basically been the black sheep of her family her entire life. And then we have Roth, who came from nothing and made himself the man that he is, and he definitely has a lot of dark secrets, and he's hiding a lot of things. They got married young, and she ends up hearing and finding out things of Roth that make her run away from him and seek out her father's help so that she can get divorced. We open up this book where they finally see each other after 7 years. Jasmine actually recently lost her father. Her father died. Her ex-mother-in-law calls her and tells her to come to this cabin where she lives and just kind of spend time with her and all of these things. And while Jasmine goes, her ex-mother-in-law actually has a heart attack, and Jasmine ends up saving her life, because if Jasmine wasn't there, like, she would have died. Like, nobody would have gotten her to a hospital, etc. They're both at this hospital, and Roth's mother herself doesn't even think that Roth would pull up. He does. The opening scene when they first see each other, he like literally chases after her in this hospital, and like he pins her against the wall in the hospital, and they just have this insane, and I mean insane, chemistry, and you're just like, how did this all go wrong? This is the story that tells you that. It definitely ends on a cliffhanger, and we don't get a lot of our questions answered, which I think is why it's not a full 5 star, because I've definitely felt very frustrated by this book, because they just seemed not necessarily perfect for each other, but their chemistry and their connection just seemed like 1 out of 100, like out of this world. Like, they just feel like they're meant to be, and I just love the relationship. That's kind of crazy for me to say, because this is a toxic relationship. Like, Roth, he is a toxic, angry man, okay? He takes no shit. He gets what he wants, and he doesn't care who he has to go through or what he has to do to get it. So he's definitely a morally great hero, and even his mother warns Jasmine not to get with him again, because she ends up doing so because Roth basically blackmails her to marry him again, because he has finally taken over her father's company, slowly but surely, like, you know, on the low key, and now he's threatening Jasmine's sisters that he's going to take the company from them. And so Jasmine, to save her sister's heartbreak and save her legacy, she ends up agreeing to a contract to remarry him, and this has been Roth's plot this whole time. And all I'm gonna say is I loved it. I loved that man, even though he was brutal and cruel in so many ways, but they were just tiny, and I mean tiny, okay? You gotta go into this knowing that this is a toxic man, and you might just hate him the entire book, okay? Tiny moments where he showed that he loves her still, and that she has always been the different woman in his life. Like, it's always been her. He struggles with that because he sees her as his only weakness. Jasmine is just heartbroken. She feels betrayed. She does not trust Roth at all, but she definitely, her body just gives in to him. It does. And you know what? My body would so I don't really blame her for that. And so they definitely have this push and pull, and it basically ends where they actually have their wedding finally. She ends up finding out that her father left her a letter, that she thought that she didn't receive a letter from her father because her sisters did, but she never received one until the wedding day. And basically in the letter, when she starts reading it, her father basically tells her that she received this letter because Roth is back in her life, and she like broke her promise to him to never get back with him. And she was in the process of reading it when Roth pulls up, and he takes this letter, reads this letter, gets insanely angry, and throws it in the fire. And there was like a CD as well attached to the letter, and she tries to hide it, but he takes it as well and he throws it in the fireplace. Basically, it was blackmail that Jasmine's father had on Roth, and that's why he had originally signed the divorce papers. And then this is where Jasmine realizes that this is why Roth is back in her life, because her father passed away, so there's nothing holding him back from getting to her again. I just love me a man that's on his knees for a woman, but not really on his knees for a woman. and he's very dominant, and he's just very cocky, and he is just a man with money and power. And I ate it up. I honestly do recommend this, especially if you love toxic romances, and the spice was really, really good. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed it. We do not get an HEA in here, and I'm excited to continue in the trilogy. So with that being said, I'm not going to unhaul this unless there's a different publisher, but I don't think so. I think all these books are going to look like this, but if there's a publisher edition where the formatting and the size of the book is different, then maybe I'll get those and look into that and unhaul this copy. But definitely different from what I have been reading as of recently. Yeah, I love this. Okay, now this next book that we're going to be talking about is A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stasia Stark. I'm actually 95% of the way in, and this is the book that we're going to be finishing together. I am listening to the audiobook of this, and I didn't do any immersive reading until literally right now. I'm on chapter 25. I did listen to about half of this book yesterday and the other half today, and I figured I would stop it before I finished it at work and finish it on camera with you guys, because I am really, really enjoying this. And I did write down some notes about this book because it is a fantasy romance, and there was just so much going on, and like there's a lot of world building and information about the world and the magic system, so I didn't want to ramble on without knowing where the hell I'm going. But let me see if I can give you guys this information in a concise way. So we have our hero Lorien, and we have our heroine Priska. This is a world where newborns are taken to these priest ladies. They basically torture the magic out of these babies, and they don't get their magic back until they turn 25. There are these assessors where they will go into villages and towns, and at 25 they will test to see if they have any magic, and if they don't have magic, then they'll get their magic returned. But if they do find magic, then they automatically kill your entire family, and they take that person to the kingdom where they basically will burn to death, which is brutal. Okay, it's so brutal. Priska is our female main character, and she's been hiding the fact that she still has magic for her entire life. I believe she's 22, 23. She ends up having to flee her village because she ends up saving the life of this girl, but this girl ends up ratting her out, saying that she has magic, so now she has to run away, and her mother, who is a seer, tells her that she needs to go and find the prince. So Priska flees and is now on a journey with a group, including Lorien, traveling to the city so Priska can flee to another country on a ship. So that is the overall opening of this. I loved this relationship because it's definitely slow burn, and he definitely does not trust her or like her from the beginning. Like, she is drowning in a river because her mother throws her off a cliff so she can escape. He tells the other people in his group to just leave her, and they go on their merry way. And then they kind of end up running into each other again in the forest, and then they end up making this deal where they will help her get to the kingdom, and she, with this magic that she has, will help them actually enter the gates without being like caught or making anybody suspicious. Up until this very point, Lorien has always had other plans. We still don't necessarily know what those are. At this very moment, he's looking for a gem, and Priska's helping him find it. Once they get to this kingdom, they go their separate ways. Priska actually ends up running into her brother, and they both actually go undercover into this castle where Priska and her brother are trying to save her best friend Asenia and one other person that is part of the rebellion. So now they join this rebellion, and they go undercover in this castle. This book is action packed. There's no moment of just like rest or like slowness. The pacing is very good for me. I really enjoy that, because if I was bored, girl, I probably would have TNF'd it. But something is always happening, and the plot is always moving. Lorien and Priska actually end up running into each other at the castle as well. Priska is trying to free her best friend, but now she has this bigger goal where she wants to free everyone in the dungeons, and they're trying to just go about all of that. We definitely have a world where the king is the enemy, and he has been telling everyone that the Fae are the bad people, when the king is actually the one stealing everyone's magic to have more power for himself. Those are the basics of this book. My overall thoughts so far is I really love it. The audiobook, out of 5 stars, the audiobook I give like a 3. I feel like if I would have read this physically, I might have enjoyed it a little bit better. I love Priska as a character. She does make some weird decisions, and Lorien is definitely more on the secretive side. I wish we knew more about him, but there are 4 books in the series, so maybe there's a reason for that. And I love all the side characters, and I like all of the things that we're finding out about Priska and her previous life, if you will. We're learning more about her magic, about what she really is. I also really enjoyed like Lorien's group of mercenaries, if you will. They were just so kind and funny, and they just felt like a big family and took Priska in. So it's definitely giving found family in that journey that she has at the beginning. Right now, Priska is still at the castle. they're undercover. If they get caught, they die. Like, it's very high stakes. And now we're gonna see what happens, because they kind of ran into this problem where their original escape route is not going to work. And I just gotta know what the fuck is going on. Also, I will say the spice, I was not expecting that. But honestly, like, I really, really enjoyed it. And I thought that it fit the story so well. This is definitely a romantasy. This is not a fantasy. The romance plays a big part in this, but the plot is just so good and so fast moving that it all just kind of makes sense. And it's giving a little historical because they wear like these gowns, and I don't know, it's giving all the vibes. I'm here for it. Lorian is protective and jealous, and he really, really likes Prista, and he has like these really cute nicknames for her, and I'm just loving it. I'm loving the relationship, and you know I'm a romance girly at heart, so I live for the moments where they're together and they're working together. At this very moment, they've made a blood pact. With that being said, I'm gonna shut up because I feel like I'm not saying anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this book with you guys, and then we'll do a little bit more of a chit chat after I finish, and then we will outro this reading vlog so I can get it uploaded for you guys. So let's get into it. Okay, you guys. That was a journey. To say the least. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 4 stars because I truly did love it. And honestly, I did guess some things, obviously. And I'm just excited to see what more happens because just everything that happened at the end of this was crazy. And also, I feel like there's just so much more potential for Priska to grow and become into what she truly needs to be. And then with Lorian, we find out something obviously in here, which I was also correct about. I'm trying to see what his world is like and why he's doing the things that he's doing and all those things. I was shocked at a scene in here. I was like, I was so shook. As you guys saw, I was just shook the entire last 5% of this book. So overall, I will not be unhauling this. I don't think this book is traditionally published, so I'm definitely going to look into getting the rest of the series because I definitely want to continue with this series. I just want to see where it goes. I want their HEA, and the way that it ended, she literally says that she's going to make him literally suffer. And like, that's what I'm here for. Okay, that's what I'm here for. So solid 4 stars. I truly love this, and it will definitely be a series that I finish in the new year. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. I had so much fun reading all of these books. Let me know if you read any of these books down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.